For centuries, humanity has looked to the stars, dreaming of alien worlds and distant galaxies. We've built towering cities that scrape the clouds and launched vessels to explore the vast emptiness of space. But what if the greatest mysteries, the most incredible stories of our past, lie not in the heavens above, but hidden just meters below the ground we walk on every day? Imagine a world where entire cities, complex, sprawling metropolises, are not just built on the surface, but are carved out of the earth itself. What kind of people would build such a place? What secrets do they hold? And how did they manage to create entire worlds beneath our feet without any of the technology we take for granted today? Get ready to forget everything you think you know about ancient civilizations. We're about to descend into the forgotten depths and discover the breathtaking ingenuity behind lost subterranean cities, places you never knew existed. We'll unearth their incredible engineering marvels, uncover their hidden secrets, and reveal the sheer genius that brought these astonishing buried worlds to life. This is a journey unlike any other. So are you ready to explore the great below? For centuries, humanity has looked to the stars, dreaming of alien worlds and distant galaxies. We've built towering cities that scrape the clouds and launched vessels to explore the vast emptiness of space. But what if the greatest mysteries, the most incredible stories of our past, lie not in the heavens above, but hidden just meters below the ground we walk on every day? Imagine a world where entire cities, complex, sprawling metropolises, are not just built on the surface, but are carved out of the earth itself. What kind of people would build such a place? What secrets do they hold? And how did they manage to create entire worlds beneath our feet without any of the technology we take for granted today? Get ready to forget everything you think you know about ancient civilizations. We're about to descend into the forgotten depths and discover the breathtaking ingenuity behind lost subterranean cities, places you never knew existed. We'll unearth their incredible engineering marvels, uncover their hidden secrets, and reveal the sheer genius that brought these astonishing buried worlds to life. This is a journey unlike any other. So are you ready to explore the great below? Our journey begins in the heart of Turkey, in the stunning, almost alien landscape of Cappadocia. On the surface, it's a land of fairy chimneys and volcanic rock. But here, a secret lay buried for millennia. In 1963, a local man was doing a simple home renovation when he knocked down a wall and discovered a hidden room. That room led to another and another and another, until he realized he had stumbled upon something truly monumental. A massive, multi-level city carved deep into the earth. It was a place known to us today as Derinkuyu. This wasn't just a cave. This was a sophisticated, purpose-built city, descending more than 60 meters below ground. When it was fully inhabited, Derinkuyu was a bustling metropolis with a population of up to 20,000 people. It had stables for livestock, wine presses for food, oil presses for light, and even massive rolling stone doors to seal off individual levels from any potential invaders. Think about that for a moment. An entire community living and thriving deep underground, completely cut off from the sun and the surface world. They had to build for everything, for air, for water, for defense, and for daily life. What was it like? Imagine the quiet hum of activity, the dim flicker of oil lamps, the cool, constant temperature that offered a perfect escape from the harsh weather outside. Derinkuyu was a marvel of ancient engineering, designed to keep its inhabitants safe for months at a time. It's a testament to the fact that when faced with a threat, humanity can create incredible things. But Derinkuyu isn't the only example of this buried genius. Next, we travel to the scorching desert of Jordan, to a place many of you have seen but may not truly know. I'm talking about Petra. To most, Petra is just the treasury, that iconic rose-red facade carved into the cliff. But that's just a grand entrance. The truth is, Petra is an entire city, and its most astonishing feature isn't its grand architecture, but its mastery of a resource more precious than gold: water. The Nabateans who built Petra were brilliant engineers. Living in the middle of a desert, they created an elaborate system of channels, cisterns, and dams to capture every single drop of rainwater that fell. They could divert water to fountains, public baths, and private homes, making a sprawling city possible in one of the most inhospitable climates on Earth. They didn't just survive here, they prospered, turning Petra into a major trade hub. And all of it, from the grand treasury to the most remote water system, was carved directly out of the living rock. Our final stop takes us to a place that feels like stepping onto another planet, the Tunisian village of Matmata. Unlike the ruins we've just explored, Matmata is a living example of a subterranean city. For centuries, people here have been building and living in what are known as troglodyte homes. These are not caves in the side of a hill. They are open-air pits dug into the soft earth, with rooms carved into the walls, surrounding the central courtyard. Why did they choose to live this way? The answer is simple: the brutal desert sun. The thick earth walls of a troglodyte home keep the interior cool in the summer and warm in the winter. It's a brilliant, natural form of climate control. The central courtyard lets in light and fresh air, while the rooms offer a cool sanctuary. It's a reminder that sometimes the simplest and most effective solutions are found not in building up, but in digging down. These three cities, Derinkuyu, Petra, and Matmata, each tell a unique story. A story of survival, of ingenuity, and of a deep connection to the earth itself. But how exactly did they do it? What was the secret to their engineering? In our next chapter, we'll take a closer look at the stunning details and brilliant architecture that made these buried worlds possible. In our last chapter, we descended into the earth and discovered incredible buried worlds: Derinkuyu in Turkey, Petra in Jordan, and the living village of Matmata. We saw what they were, but now we must ask, how were they built? How did ancient people, without the aid of modern drills, excavation equipment, or structural engineering manuals, manage to create such complex, multi-level cities deep underground? The answer lies in their sheer ingenuity and a profound understanding of their environment. We'll start with the undisputed masterpiece of subterranean architecture, Derinkuyu. As we saw, this isn't just a simple collection of caves. It's a meticulously planned city, a marvel of civil engineering that could house thousands of people and their livestock. The most mind-boggling question about Derinkuyu isn't how they carved it, but how they managed to breathe down there. The engineers of Derinkuyu solved this problem with a brilliant passive system. They knew that hot air rises and cool air sinks, so they carved over 50 ventilation shafts that plunged from the surface straight down into the lowest levels. They built these shafts with a specific purpose: to create a natural, constant flow of air. The colder air from the surface would be drawn down, circulating through the city's tunnels and chambers, while the warmer, stale air from below would rise back up. It was a perfect, self-regulating system, a testament to their genius. But air was only one challenge. Another was defense. When the city's inhabitants heard of an approaching army, they could retreat into Derinkuyu and seal themselves in for months. They achieved this with those massive rolling stone doors we briefly mentioned. These doors weren't just decorative. They were up to 2 meters in diameter and weighed over 1,000 pounds. And they were designed with a genius mechanism. A hole in the center of the door allowed a person to push it from the inside, but once it was in place, it was impossible to move from the outside. These doors could seal off entire levels, creating a series of intricate defensive choke points that invaders would never be able to penetrate. Derinkuyu was not just a city. It was a fortress, a bunker built into the very bones of the earth. Now let's turn our attention to Petra and a different kind of engineering challenge. While Derinkuyu was all about defense, Petra was about survival. The Nabateans lived in a parched desert, and the only way to thrive was to master water. They weren't just lucky, they were incredibly resourceful. Their entire city was a giant water collection system. They carved intricate channels, known as aqueducts, into the rock faces that lined the canyons. These channels would direct every drop of rainwater and flash floodwater into massive underground cisterns. They had to be precise, ensuring the water would flow with the right gradient to prevent stagnation. They lined the channels with a special type of waterproof mortar, ensuring no water was lost to the porous rock. And it wasn't just about storage. It was about distribution. From these hidden cisterns, a network of terracotta pipes and stone conduits carried the water to fountains, public baths, and homes all over the city. This system was so efficient that it allowed a population of over 30,000 people to live comfortably in the middle of a barren desert. The Nabateans weren't just stoneworkers, they were hydroengineers who understood geology and gravity on a level that still astounds us today. Their legacy isn't just the stunning facades. It's the invisible network of life-giving water that made it all possible. Finally, we look at the Mayan underworld passages and a form of engineering that blended structure with spirituality. The Maya saw the earth as a living entity and the underground as a sacred realm, a portal to the gods. But they didn't just wander into natural caves. They engineered and modified them to create a functional and ritualistic space. Their focus was on precise stonework and structural integrity. Many of these underground passages and ceremonial chambers were built in the soft, porous limestone of the Yucatan Peninsula. The Maya had to be meticulous, ensuring the chambers were stable and wouldn't collapse under the weight of the earth above. They used advanced knowledge of masonry and corbelled arches to create vaults that could support the immense pressure, all while navigating a complex network of underground rivers and cenotes. These weren't just tunnels, they were sacred passages connecting the living world to the spiritual underworld. They were places for rituals, for ceremonies, and for a deep connection to their beliefs. The genius of the Maya wasn't just in building a structure. It was in creating a space that served both a physical and a spiritual purpose. From the complex ventilation of Derinkuyu to the life-giving water systems of Petra and the spiritual stonework of the Maya, these civilizations proved that true innovation is born from necessity. They didn't just build cities, they engineered solutions to the most fundamental challenges of survival and belief. So, how did they do it? With what tools? And with what knowledge? It's a question that continues to baffle archaeologists, and one we'll continue to explore. These masterpieces were not built with steel and concrete, but with sheer will, profound knowledge of the earth, and an imagination that looked not to the sky, but to the world beneath our feet. We've looked at the engineering marvels of these buried worlds, the air shafts of Derinkuyu, the water systems of Petra, the ceremonial passages of the Maya. But while the engineering is incredible, it's only half the story. The more fascinating question is this: what was it like to live there? What did a day look like for a person in Derinkuyu? What were the rhythms of life for the Nabateans in their rock-hewn homes? To truly understand these places, we have to look past the stone and imagine the lives of the people who called them home. Imagine waking up not to a sunrise, but to the gentle, constant coolness of the earth. In a place like Derinkuyu, the daily rhythm would have been dictated by the needs of the community. Life would have been a collective effort. Every person would have had a role, from preparing food in the communal kitchens to tending to the animals in the underground stables. You would have been surrounded by people, but also by the silent, unyielding stone. There was no escaping the earth. The constant, cool temperature was a blessing in the hot summers, but also a reminder that you were a world away from the surface. Food was a major challenge. How do you feed a city of thousands when you're cut off from the sun? The answer was ingenuity. Derinkuyu had vast storage rooms carved out of the rock, perfect for keeping grains and vegetables cool and dry for long periods. They would have relied on what they could grow or gather on the surface and bring them down, but also on a stored surplus. The very architecture of their homes was a response to this need. Every nook and every cranny was used for storage. But life wasn't all about survival. There were communal spaces for people to gather, rooms for socialization, and perhaps even spiritual practice. The challenge of living in a confined subterranean space would have been immense. How did people deal with the lack of sunlight? How did their mental state hold up over weeks, even months, in the dark? We don't have all the answers, but we can infer that they found ways to cope, to connect, and to thrive. The question remains, though, why did they do it? Why build such complex worlds beneath their feet? We can theorize that it was a combination of factors. The most compelling reason, especially for Derinkuyu, was defense. The region of Cappadocia was a crossroads for empires, constantly under threat from invading armies. The city was a perfect refuge, a place to disappear until the danger passed. In that sense, it was the ultimate security system, a fortress so well hidden it was practically invisible. But for other civilizations, the motivations were different. In Petra and Matmata, climate played a huge role. The extreme desert heat made life on the surface nearly unbearable. By carving their homes and cities into the earth, they found a natural and effective way to regulate temperature. The earth walls acted as a perfect insulator, keeping the interiors cool in the summer and warm during the cold desert nights. It was a brilliant, low-tech solution to an age-old problem. And then there's the final, and perhaps most mysterious reason: spirituality. For the Maya, the underground was not just a physical space. It was a sacred realm. It was the underworld, a place where the living could connect with their gods and the spirits of their ancestors. The passages and chambers were not just tunnels. They were sacred paths leading to a deeper understanding of the universe. The challenges of building in such an environment were overcome not just for survival, but for faith. So, in the end, these subterranean cities were more than just buildings. They were a testament to the human spirit, our ability to adapt to our environment, to overcome threats, and to find meaning and purpose in the most challenging of circumstances. They were places where communities found safety, comfort, and a profound connection to the world around them, both above and below. We've spent our time venturing into the past, exploring incredible buried worlds and the genius of ancient civilizations. But the story of subterranean cities isn't just a historical footnote. In fact, their lessons are more relevant today than ever. The ingenuity of the Nabateans, the structural brilliance of the Maya, and the defensive strategy of the people of Derinkuyu. These aren't just relics, they're a blueprint for our future. Today, as our surface cities grow more crowded and as we face new threats like climate change, modern builders and urban planners are looking down to the same space our ancestors did. Think about the bustling subway systems that move millions of people every day beneath cities like London, New York, or Tokyo. These are essentially modern, intricate, subterranean cities. They require the same careful planning for ventilation, structural integrity, and public access that the ancient builders perfected. And it's not just for transportation. We're building vast, underground data centers that require massive cooling systems, mirroring the same principles of passive ventilation found in Derinkuyu. We're creating climate-controlled survival shelters and tunnels in response to extreme weather and other environmental threats. The very reasons our ancestors went underground, for defense, for climate control, are the same reasons we're doing it today. We're standing on the shoulders of giants, using their solutions to solve our own modern problems. But for every ancient secret we've unearthed, 1,000 more remain buried. For all the incredible discoveries at Derinkuyu or Petra, we have to ask, what else is down there? Archaeologists are no longer just digging with shovels. They're using cutting-edge technology to peer into the earth without ever breaking ground. Ground-penetrating radar, or GPR, sends radar pulses into the earth and creates detailed maps of what lies beneath, revealing hidden walls, chambers, and tunnels. Scientists are using LiDAR, light detection and ranging, to create incredibly precise 3D models of entire landscapes, revealing anomalies and structures that are invisible to the naked eye. These technologies are like a window into the past, allowing us to see what our ancestors left behind without disturbing their work. And what they're finding is astonishing. In the jungles of Guatemala, LiDAR surveys have revealed not just a few hidden temples, but an entire, sprawling metropolis, a city far bigger and more interconnected than we ever thought possible. Who knows what secrets those cities still hold, buried beneath the dense vegetation? The story of the great below is a continuing one, full of mystery and unanswered questions. What other sprawling cities are waiting to be found in the deserts of the Middle East or the plains of Turkey? What spiritual secrets lie hidden in the jungles of Central America? And what else did ancient civilizations learn from living in a world without sunlight that we have yet to rediscover? These places remind us of something profound, that we've only just scratched the surface of our own history. The Earth itself is a living museum, and its greatest treasures may be hidden just beneath our feet. The question isn't whether there's more to discover, it's what we'll find when we finally look. We started this journey with a question: what secrets lie beneath our feet? We've descended into the dark, explored ancient worlds, and uncovered the genius of civilizations that dared to build down instead of up. We've seen the incredible ventilation systems of Derinkuyu, the life-giving water systems of Petra, and the spiritual passages of the Maya. And with every step, we've found not just stone and dust, but a testament to the extraordinary human spirit. These places remind us that innovation isn't a modern invention. It is woven into the very fabric of who we are. Faced with threats from invaders or a harsh climate, our ancestors didn't give up. They adapted. They used their intelligence, their profound knowledge of the earth, and their sheer determination to create solutions that have lasted for thousands of years. The scale of these projects is simply staggering. Imagine the sheer will and endless hours of labor it took to carve an entire city out of solid rock, one chisel at a time. It's an act of faith, of hope, and of a belief that a better life could be built, even in the most unlikely of places. But these aren't just historical relics to be admired from afar. They are a call to action. They challenge us to look at the world differently, not just at what we see on the surface, but at the potential that lies hidden just beneath. They remind us that the greatest mysteries may not be in distant galaxies, but right here, under our own feet. So, as we conclude our journey, take a moment to imagine. Imagine the secrets that might be waiting to be found in your own backyard. Imagine what other lost worlds are still sleeping in the deserts and jungles, waiting for us to rediscover them. What about you? What do you think is the most astonishing subterranean city? Let us know in the comments below. And if you're ready for more explorations into the secrets of our world, above and below, make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey.